Whoa. I can't see John.
I think he's ready.
Yeah, all right. All right, welcome everyone. All right. Welcome to the Board of Trustees, Thursday, November 14th, 2024 meeting. We are reconvening, and we will begin with our Pledge of Allegiance, led by Aaron Beck.
Please stand. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Not all heroes wear capes, and that can clearly be seen in the brave men and women who have served or are currently serving in the armed forces. We honor their courage, their sacrifices, and the dedication they have shown in the face of adversity, as well as the ones who are wounded and serve with unwavering commitment. At this time, I would like to take a moment of silence to reflect on the freedoms we enjoy because of their service, and as Thanksgiving week is coming up, the things that we are grateful for and we're blessed with. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. All right. Moving on to our closed session report, Jessica Guerrero, our clerk.
Thank you. 4.1, no reportable action taken regarding public employee performance evaluation superintendent. 4.2, the Board of Trustees unanimously approved a settlement agreement with the Nazarene Group related to the Magnolia High School locker room and Magnolia High School site improvement projects. 4.3, no reportable action taken regarding negotiations. 4.4, no reportable action taken regarding personnel. 4.5, the Board of Trustees unanimously voted to accept the agreement with employee HR-2024-25-03. 4.6, this item was pulled prior to the adoption of the agenda. 4.7, the Board of Trustees unanimously voted to suspend without pay for 15 days employee HR-2024-25-05. 4.8, no reportable action taken regarding anticipated litigation. That concludes the closed session report.
Thank you, Trustee Guerrero. Before we move on to our presentations and recognitions, I'd like to acknowledge a few folks in our audience today. Rafael Santiago is the Alta Vice President. Give him a round of applause. I believe Heather Hutner is here, President of CSEA. Jeff Morgenstern, President of ASTA, is here. And I believe I saw Paul Andreessen is our Personnel Commissioner. And was there anyone else that I inadvertently?
We have Councilmember Debbie Baker from La Palma.
Say it again, I'm sorry?
Debbie Baker.
Debbie Baker from
La Palma, City of La Palma.
All right. I did hear that someone was going to be here, but I didn't see her. From ROP, Lehia, are you here? There you are. Lehia Hallstrom. Oh, and Lacey Munger is here. Thank you for being here. We welcome everyone here, but we wanted to acknowledge those folks. All right, moving on to our Perfect Attendance Awards. And I am deferring to Celeste Kruger and Amy Maya. Welcome.
Hi, good evening. President Randall Trejo, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Matsuda, and Executive Cabinet, Personnel Commissioner Andreessen, and our AUHSD families and friends watching both here and at home. Tonight, we gather to celebrate a valued tradition in our district, recognizing the perfect attendance of our dedicated employees. This commitment is central to the success of our schools and deserves the utmost gratitude and respect. I'm delighted to present the Red Apple Award to each employee who achieved perfect attendance in the 23-24 academic year. Your reliability and consistency significantly contribute to our dedication in providing an environment that promotes the spirit of unlimited you. Additionally, we honor those with extraordinary dedication through the Gold Apple Award, reserved for employees with 3 consecutive years of perfect attendance. Your remarkable commitment sets a high standard for all of us. As we proceed with these awards, let's acknowledge the crucial role of each staff member plays in fostering and supporting and nurturing environment for our students. Your efforts are essential to our success and deeply appreciated. Please join me in welcoming our award recipients. Okay, first we have Catarina Banales. Crystal Bourbon. Gary Brown. Papi Hill Bonales. Christy Takas. All right, and now our gold recipients. Dr. Jaron Freed. Scott McDonough. Mike Pooley. And Bradley Watrous. And can we please have everybody come up for a picture, please? Thank you. We do that at the end.
Board.
Jerry was supposed to get a picture.
We have one more person that just came in, so I want to make sure we acknowledge her. Sophia Nava.
And we're moving on to our kindness awards. Celeste?
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Celeste Kruger, Director of Human Resources. With me is Amy Maya, also Director of Human Resources, and assisting us tonight is Teresa Rodarte, Senior Administrative Assistant. So the Kindness Matters Awards began in 2011 as a way to recognize and show appreciation to our staff, students, and community members. To be a recipient of this award, one must go above and beyond to demonstrate compassion, kindness, and care for others. We received many nominations for people that demonstrate kindness in their everyday lives, but the following people have demonstrated that they really go above and beyond. When I call your name, please come forward. Our first recipient is Yvonne Brayon. Just so you know, Yvonne is a food services assistant 1, and she consistently goes above and beyond in her normal duties to offer the students what they actually like and want to eat. Specifically, a special needs student who is nonverbal and will only eat certain foods for lunch. On several occasions, the student comes for lunch after the bell rings and we have limited available entrees. Yvonne has a student type on the phone what she wants to eat for lunch, and Yvonne will get that entree for the student, cook it, and serve it to her with a smile and genuine care and concern. So thank you, Yvonne, for all you do. Our next recipient is a community partner, Tanley Church. And accepting on behalf of the church is Timothy Pham, Jason Lee, and Ewan Nguyen. So the staff and families associated with Tanley Church embody kindness, friendliness, and a true spirit of community partnership. Over the past year, Orangeview has been undergoing significant construction, which presented many logistical challenges. However, thanks to the generosity and support of Tanley Church, we were able to host essential events such as open house, back to school night, intramural athletics, the beginning of the year registration, honor roll ceremonies, and more. Their quick and positive responses to every request have been invaluable not only during this past year, but for many years prior. The partnership with the church is one of mutual care where we consistently look out and support one another as members of the same community. Thank you, Tanley Church, for your unwavering generosity and commitment to Orangeview Junior High School. We are truly grateful for everything you do. Our next recipient is Wendy Kreiner. Wendy is a teacher at Western High School. So on August 7th, just so you know, you'll need a little context with this, Wendy was nominated by a fellow teacher at Western. So on August 7th, 2023, the first day of school, Lizbeth Rosette, who was the teacher that nominated her, was walking to a lesson planning meeting at Western High School when she tripped and fell. She didn't have time to brace herself, so she landed on her right shoulder with her full weight and force and bumped her face on the ground. She was sprawled out on her stomach in a Superman pose in unbelievable pain, unable to move and bleeding heavily from her nose. Wendy Kreiner was walking ahead of Lizbeth, and she turned around and saw what happened and heard me screaming her name and crying out in pain. She got down on the floor and lay on her stomach to look at me in my eyes and comfort me. When she realized that my injuries were serious, she called the paramedics and the campus health tech and one of my best friends at Western High School. I'm sure this whole situation was incredibly traumatizing for her to witness, but I will never forget her kindness, professionalism, and level-headedness as she helped me through this moment of crisis. Thank you, Wendy. All right, our next recipient is Sarah Hamilton, and Sarah is a parent at Savannah High School. Sarah is a loving and involved parent at Savannah, where her daughter is part of the LAS2 program. Sarah has helped create a sense of belonging for our students and families. She encourages them to be involved in after-school activity, started a monthly parent group, and is so generous to the classroom staff. Most importantly, she is a passionate advocate and believes all students deserve space in their communities. Sarah is dedicated to helping those around her. She believes in the best in all people and will support you to reach her potential. She is the best mom, friend, advocate, and cheerleader. She helps make Savannah and our classroom a place where people feel loved and valued for exactly who they are. Our next nominee, our next winner is Amor Hernandez, who is an interpreter translator at Anaheim High School. Amor has become a pillar of support within our school community at Anaheim. Colleagues know they can always count on her for assistance, whether it's work-related or personal support. In her role as an interpreter, her contributions far extend beyond her official job duties. She pays meticulous attention to detail, ensuring that parents are fully supported during interpretations of IEPs or parent meetings. She is also very alert and takes leadership on providing the parents in our community with information on school and community resources as needed. In regards to students, her nurturing, genuine, caring demeanor is evident in her interactions. She is skilled in tailoring and uses this talent to support our students by tailoring their prom dresses. This type of support has allowed a number of students to fully participate in school events without hitting a financial burden. She's instrumental in collaborating with our community schools coordinator and FACES to collect donations of dresses and accessories for the closet at Anaheim High School. Her kindness, dedication, and genuine care make her an excellent candidate for this recommendation. Our next winner is Brenna Jimenez, who is a teacher at Western High School. Brenna is leading our positive school culture on campus by creating bonding opportunities for staff, including Orangeview staff as well, as we will consolidate fall of 2025. She plans meetings at lunch and welcomes ideas from the staff on how the staff can connect and build positive relationships with each other. She plans events and extends the invitation to the Orangeview staff. You can always find a smile on Brenna's face. She is a ray of sunshine. Our next winner is Nareda Martinez. She is a parent at Anaheim High School. Ms. Martinez has gone beyond the normal supported parent. She has practically adopted our girls cross-country varsity team. Last year, she started by buying the whole varsity team shirts to recognize them for their hard work. Later, she also made special hair bows that had each of the girls' names on them, and she included both of the coaches as well. During the summer, she helped support the girls getting to their Big Bear camp, organized the creation and connection for new team uniforms, rallied other parents to participate, and has been at every event. At these events, she does the girls' hair to help them prepare for the races. She makes signs, brings cheer props for the team, and encourages team spirit with all 42 girls. In addition, she has put in countless hours of fundraising, including doing the 12-hour shift in the fireworks stand. She has gone above what is expected of parent support. Because of her dedication to not just her daughter, but our whole team, we carry ourselves with pride and team spirit. She's a big part of the community and part of our legacy cross-country team. She's brought us to new heights, and the girls have a better experience because of her. I am so grateful for her help and contributions to the team. Our next winner is Eric McCall, who's a JRTC instructor at Kennedy High School. I am honored to nominate Eric McCall for the Kindness Matters Award in recognition of his outstanding compassion, professionalism, and dedication. Recently, I requested his assistance ensuring the proper folding of the American flag provided for my brother's military burial. Eric not only fulfilled this request, but went far beyond what was asked of him. With limited time and resources, he arranged a ceremonial presentation for me, enlisting his best students to fold the flag, play taps, and conduct a military honors presentation, all within less than a week. His actions provided immense comfort to me and honored my brother's memory with dignity and respect. His ability to bring together such a meaningful and heartfelt tribute in such a short period speaks volumes about his character, his commitment to service, and his willingness to go above and beyond to help others in their time of need. His kindness and dedication have left an indelible impact on me. He exemplifies a true spirit of service and kindness, making him a deserving candidate for this award. Next, we have Bob Moonswamy, who is an ROP teacher at Savannah High School. Chef Bob is always kind and generous to his students as the ROP culinary arts teacher at Savannah. He welcomes our students with special needs into his classes to work alongside our regular ed students. He also welcomes students to his classroom in the morning before school and during lunch. As an ROP teacher, Chef Bob does not have a conference period, yet he still allows students to come at lunch to eat and hang out. There is a vibrant and close community in his classroom. His kindness goes above and beyond what anyone is asking him to do. He also helped with our tennis program because our most recent tennis coaches moved on to other schools. After a long day of teaching, he heads out and works with our tennis players as well. Chef Bob is one of the people that makes Savannah and our district a better place in our community. Next we have Rosalind Pryor, and I believe Ms. Pryor is not here. So just so you know, she was also involved in the incident and where Elizabeth Rosette fell on campus. And so she was nominated by Elizabeth because of all the help that she provided to Elizabeth in that very traumatic time. And Catherine Rusk is not here as well. Catherine was also involved in that incident as well. So Catherine provided great assistance to Elizabeth and helped her move her classroom when Elizabeth returned and provided a great support to her. So she wanted to include her as well. Our next winner is a student from Magnolia High School, Kamari Smith. Mari is willing to help any student in need. He is always kind when he does. He has helped several students in my class, some with learning disabilities, and treated them with respect and kindness. I've never met a student like him. He always plays football and is very encouraging to his teammates and wants the best for them. When I read the email, his name popped in my head, and I sincerely feel he is a great candidate for this award.
Nice job.
Right. Our next award winner is the La Palma Community Foundation. And accepting on their behalf is Sharon Guchar, Debbie Baker, Michelle Jondal, excuse me for the names, and Noelle Liu. The La Palma Community Foundation is a deserving recipient of the Kindness Matters Award for their tireless dedication to the well-being of the community. Their efforts to fundraise and conduct the impactful Every 15 Minutes program at Kennedy High School demonstrates a deep commitment to student safety and awareness. By offering this program before prom, the foundation helps students understand the serious consequences of impaired driving, promoting a culture of responsibility and care. Their focus on preventative education shows their genuine concern for the youth of the community and their future well-being. In addition to their work with students, they extend their kindness to the staff at Walker Junior High and Kennedy. The simple but meaningful gesture of providing donuts and coffee to staff brings a sense of appreciation and joy to educators who work tirelessly to support their students. They take an active role in enhancing school safety by writing the grant to bring a school resource officer to the schools in La Palma. This demonstrates their unwavering commitment to creating a secure and supportive environment for students and staff alike, making them truly deserving of the Kindness Matters Award. Next, we have Peggy Sue Sutherland, who is a health technician at Western High School. So Peggy Sue was also involved in the incident with Elizabeth Rosette, who fell on campus. So when Elizabeth fell, she was on her stomach, unable to move. Peggy Sue immediately came and arrived quickly to do an assessment of the situation, was very professional. She was calming me, asking me questions, and gently trying to stop the bleeding from my nose while we waited for this paramedics. I'm sure this whole situation was traumatizing for her to witness, but I will never forget her kindness, professionalism, and level-headedness as she helped me through this moment of crisis. believe Yvonne Brayon is here now. Is that what I hear? Yvonne, come on up. Yvonne, we already read the great things that you did, so I'll give this to you so you can read it yourself, but thank you for all of your,
Bravo, Yvonne.
So congratulations to all of our winners for the 24-25 school year and for the nominators who took the time to show appreciation to our staff. We wanted you to know that your acts of kindness do not go unnoticed. So at this time, if we could have everyone that received a Kindness That Matters award come to the front, we'll take a quick picture with the board.
Grateful you tried. You're good. Okay, thank you.
But that we've heard over the years, yeah. Sad. You wonder what people think about how yeah.
Why would you do that? Why would you think about that? Why would you target that person?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Poking the light.
That's my memory that it happened.
Crowd thinned out. Okay. Student. Oh, 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 oh.
Jessica.
Yep, she's waving.
Okay, well, first try. First try. It's great. Okay, so we'll talk to you later.
Have a nice dinner. We're just gonna have dinner, huh? Okay.
Right, that's right. Yeah.
I think it was the restroom. I thought I'm like super like coming back, but no.
That's okay if they sit up here now, right? Yeah, you guys can sit here.
So I was gonna get the kids in line and go, here's your quarter, don't spend it all at once. Here's your quarter.
Yeah, that's sad, yeah.
Just leave that.
That's
You
something.
can go home or you taking tomorrow off? You usually take a.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually you do, right? That's what you're.
You know what you know
Oh,
what
okay.
else is the
But because we have this Monday off and we have Thanksgiving.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Like, I wouldn't use it.
Okay, all right. That's right. It's only a 4-day week only. This week.
All right. Wasn't that amazing? Wasn't that wonderful?
Yes.
I love this. I love these two awards. You know, we're always talking about our students and their attendance. And so when our employees can model that good behavior, you know, it sets a great tone for them. And then it sets a great tone when I see a lot of our administrators doing that as well. And so, thank you. And the Kindness Award, Wednesday was Kindness World Day. And so this is an appropriate week to celebrate that. And we had everyone from classified to certificated and the community. And it just tells us that we can't do this work by ourselves. And one small act of kindness, you saw through that one teacher how many people affected her. And I just think about when we go out and we do kind things for each other and just how much that affects the rest of the world. And so I'm so proud to work and serve in a district that celebrates Kindness Week, and they're gone. Celeste and Amy, they do such a wonderful job. And so thank you for, if you're still here and you were supporting someone that was a recipient. And if you haven't done that yet, please think about it when we do it again, because it's a really nice gesture to thank somebody for going above and beyond. All right, moving on. Does anybody else want to say anything? Okay, talk too much. All righty. Moving on to our Student Representative Board of Trustee, Erin Beck, for her report.
Okay, so starting off with Anaheim. Anaheim High School football are league champions for the first time in over 10 years. They are now on the second round of CIF finals. Anaheim High School also hosted a mock election in October to showcase the power of democracy amongst students. Next, with Cambridge. Other than these accomplishments on the report, CVA's main highlight was that they worked with Dale Junior High on a food donation. CVA was very happy to see it went well. Next, with Cyprus. For Cyprus, they had their homecoming that was off campus this year, which made it a little different than previous years and other schools. It was a blast and was a great start to their dances. Next, October was Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so the Centurions wore pink every Wednesday. In addition, there was a Red Ribbon Spirit Week to spread awareness about being drug-free. Volleyball made state playoffs and football also made CIF. These notable events and activities display their Centurion pride, and they can't wait for what's to come next at Cyprus. Now with Catella. Catella girls and boys varsity cross-country team made it to CIF. They will be competing tomorrow at Mount Sac, and Catella was happy to see the hard work of these boys paid off. A new pool will also be opening soon. Now with Kennedy. Kennedy's highlight was their blood drive that happened on the 16th. Many students were able to donate and even volunteer to help out with this drive, and it was a very good experience for them all. Next, Laura. Students embarked on an exciting educational journey to explore college pathways, visiting Cal Poly Pomona, Mount San Antonio College, and Sonoma State University. Thanks to Hope's support, they toured these campuses, connected with advisors, and discovered a variety of academic programs and resources. This eye-opening experience offered a taste of campus life and allowed students to envision potential career paths, sparking inspiration for their future goals. Next, Magnolia. For Magnolia, their tennis team was able to make it to round 3 for CIFs, and that was definitely their biggest highlight for this month. Magnolia is so incredibly proud, and they have no doubt that the girls will leave it all on the courts. Magnolia wishes them best, and they can't wait to see them go gold for this Friday. Now looking at Oxford. Oxford recently had their VAPA choir perform their musical of In the Heights with all their performers singing and props made by their team at Kennedy Performing Arts. The performance was truly unforgettable. Next with Savannah. Savannah celebrated Red Ribbon Week by having a week full of lunch activities hosted by different clubs each day. The lunch activities brought fun but also educated students about the facts on drug use, emphasizing the importance of being drug-free. Special thanks to Friday Night Live FNL Club, who helped decorate the campus to bring that Rebel Red spirit into Red Ribbon Week. Lastly, with our last school, Western. Western's highlight was football and girls tennis both went to CIF, and girls volleyball and boys water polo won Orange League. Western is so proud to see that all their hard work paid off.
All right, thank you, Erin. Wonderful.
Mrs. Rendell Trejo, I just want to say that this is probably the best student report that I've ever seen. Pictures tell so many stories, but they're consistent throughout the entire, through our entire district. So kudos to you, Erin, for organizing this and putting it together.
Takes a lot of time. Put that together. All right, moving on to our student speakers. I want to call your name, just make your way up to the podium. And this student, is it Abraham Garcia Arellano? Welcome.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Abraham Garcia Arellano, and I'm a student at Polaris in Independent Studies. On November 1st, in Independent Studies, all students and families received an email informing us of changes coming to our program for the upcoming school year. These changes would transform our satellite schools at Kennedy, Cypress, and Catella into independent learning centers, ILCs. We were told that this decision was based on feedback from students and families across the district. The thing is, though, in all the surveys we have participated in, not once has a question related to this topic been brought up. The surveys we do are usually the typical needs and assessment surveys that every school in the district does, nothing changing for our specific program. On November 7th, we were in an online meeting with the principal to discuss the questions and concerns from students and parents. However, we were reminded that this decision is final. Students, parents, and staff weren't even aware that this decision was being made. When parents expressed their concerns about their teachers about their children's teachers not potentially being part of the new ILCs, we were told that students in traditional schools change teachers every year. But the appeal of independent studies is that it is not a traditional school. The bond we build with our teachers is a big reason why we thrive in independent studies. If the students in the future ILCs receive new teachers, this will most likely disrupt their connection to their education. As we all know, a teacher can change a subject for a student, either making them love it or hate it. So now, the students at the satellite schools are faced with either enrolling at CVA, returning to their home schools, continuing in independent studies but transferring to Polaris, or enrolling in the new ILCs. Despite reassurances that the independent studies should remain the same, at the beginning of the school year, students who were seeking to join the program were redirected to CVA or placed on a wait list. If our program is to remain, why aren't new students being allowed to enter? Additionally, the ones who made the decision have not been named. Is that a timer?
One more minute, yes.
Parents who reached out to the principal have not had their questions answered, which leaves the entire process lacking transparency. I ask the board to look into this and genuinely listen to what our families want. We are a community school, and the community deserves to be heard. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up, Abigail Grandgnath, I'm sorry. Please correct me.
Good evening. My name is Abigail Gingnath, and I'm currently in 8th grade at Oxford Academy. First, let me begin by thanking the Board of Trustees for the opportunity to speak tonight. I appreciate the opportunity to use my voice to stand up for what I believe is right. As I mentioned, I attend Oxford Academy, where I'm also a historian for our AUHSD, which stands for Career Student Association. I consider myself an ally to the LGBTQ+ community. A true ally is someone who supports and advocates for the LGBT+ community and works to create an inclusive environment, which is why I'm here tonight to support the keeping of the book Genderqueer by Maya Kobabe in our high school libraries. I understand that the words genderqueer and non-binary are difficult subjects for many adults to understand. They may be confusing, they may be scary. They are an unknown. They are subjects full of misinformation, questions, and speculation. And if it is like that for an adult, imagine what it is like for a teen who is going through these exact feelings on top of having to attend classes and complete classwork, and who is trying not to drown in or lose themselves to all of the uncertainty around them. This is why books like Genderqueer, a powerful memoir by someone who has gone through these exact feelings and made it to the other side, finding their identity and living authentically and safely, are important. Literature like this saves lives because those who need it will know that they are not alone and that things will get better. And it can help those wanting to understand what their loved ones may be going through. Our library bookshelves should represent the diversity of our classrooms and classmates. Therefore, I humbly ask that this board agrees with the review committee and votes to keep the book. Please join me in being an ally to my friends, family, and LGBTQ+ community as a whole, because your actions will always speak louder than your words. Thank you.
Thank you, Abigail. Next up, Chloe Thao. I'm sorry, is it Chow?
It's
Joe, all right.
Hello, my name is Crow Zhou, and I am a senior at Oxford Academy and the president of our QSA. I would like to thank the board for allowing us to speak up on this topic, and I'm here to make comments about the challenging of Genderqueer, a memoir. As president of the QSA Club, I have slowly watched it die over the last 6 years. And I'm not sure why. It could be the political environment. It could just be the newer generations being unwilling to join our club. But I still have a duty to the students that do show up to our meetings, and that is also why I'm here. I am not very prepared for this because I did not expect to talk here today. I read this book in under 2 hours today because I wanted to have some insight on why this is being challenged. And I've totaled the pages. There are approximately 20 pages referencing sex, genitalia, or nudity, which I assume are the most controversial points to have it challenged. However, most of those pages are talking about, like a medical procedure that the main character went through, or sex education, which every high school student has gone through, and shouldn't be a reason for it to be banned from our shelves. I have been volunteering for 6 years for the city of Anaheim, and I am now an employee. I am working there. And I mention this because I want to remind people, everybody, that we exist as people. I exist in your community. We all will. And working there, I've met so many diverse people, and I know that it's an important foundation to our city. And we need to value the diversity of our community. So I'd like the board to please consider what the committee has said and to agree that this book needs to stay in our library. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Haley Sotelo.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Haley Sotelo, and I am a student at Savannah High School. Today, I will be speaking on the topic of removing a book from libraries. The book is called Genderqueer: A Memoir. As a student, I believe that if we ban this book from our libraries, it will limit how represented other students feel in our district. Representation is so important, especially in our community. By taking this book out of our libraries, I fear this will lead to a path where taking away books that represent the youth in our district is acceptable. We've heard of books being banned and taken out. One example that comes to mind is Huntington Beach. But we are not Huntington Beach. We are Anaheim, and we don't take away books just because we may not always agree with what they say. Thank you.
Thank you. Students, I want to commend you for coming up here. I know it's not easy to come up here and speak to us. You don't know us, and I know it's a little intimidating, but we appreciate your input and we appreciate your comments. So bravo to all of you who came up here. Okay, moving on to our reports of the associations. Jeff Morgenstern from ASTA. Welcome.
All right, good evening. Board President Randall Trejo, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Matsuda, Cabinet, fellow colleagues, and community. I want to start off tonight by sharing, and some of you participated in the last couple days, our second Learning and Leading Day, where we bring folks from all over the state to come learn from us and the work that we're doing with our community schools. That was yesterday. And today we held our second of the year, our National Community Schools Learning Lab, hosted over at the ASTA office, where we brought folks from not only just across the state, but also a big contingent from Oregon as well to share what we're doing here in Anaheim and our work with community schools. And in addition to that, some of you know, I know I've shared, but I finally got a hand on a bunch of copies to share tonight. So this is for the cabinet and for the board. The California Educator is a bi-monthly publication of CTA. It has about 500,000 copies in circulation every 2 months. It's read by over 320,000 teachers across the state every 2 months. And in this issue, there's a 6-page article highlighting our Learning and Leading Day and our National Community Schools Learning Lab that we do through an NEA grant. And from what I've told, the actual managing editor of the California Educator came down and spent a couple days in Anaheim to write this article. And this is the first time there's ever been a 6-page article written in the California Educator. So I've been told. I have never read every copy. But anyway, so I'm going to hand these here to Carl. So I think it's a great example of the highlight of the collaboration that we are enjoying this year and hope to continue to enjoy. And continuing on that idea of collaboration, we share as an association the celebration of the passage of Measure K. I know not every vote has been counted, but it's looking really good. And I want to specifically acknowledge the Superintendent Matsuda and Board President Randall Trejo for the acknowledgments in public, the shout outs to ASTA and its members for participating in helping the bond measure be passed. I do also want to report out on the Budget Stabilization Committee. We had our second meeting in November. We reviewed a lot of financial information. It was a crash course for me on the budget. For a guy who uses TurboTax to do his accounting, it was a lot to take in, but I very much appreciate Dr. Nancy Nguyen chairing that committee and really explaining and going over with all the association leaders where we stand as a district. We looked at different options for retirement incentives. We know with declining enrollment, we will have less staff, and we would like to get there through attrition, primarily through retirement. There was a couple other requests for some more information to kind of come up with some more options. The hope is to have a consensus by December to share, and that way we can kind of put that plan in action and see where that can lead us. And the Budget Stabilization Committee is a great example of that collaboration and that transparency. I do want to bring to the board's attention tonight and everyone in the room the idea of, and we've been talking about this, of a site master schedule committee. It's something that we've been talking about as an association. I know we felt very keenly at the beginning of the year the effects of declining enrollment, the effects of tighter staffing, and we learned a lot of lessons with that. And I think one of the things that's important to understand about the master schedule at every school site is it touches everybody, every student, every family, every teacher, all day, every day. And so what can a site master schedule committee do? It's transparent, it's collaborative, it provides for the expertise for the scheduling of our plurilingual students, for our special ed students. It has many eyes on it to catch potential pitfalls or mistakes. It helps everyone understand the limits and possible constraints that happens at a site, and it helps to ease, I think, the frustration moving forward. It won't remove administration from making the final or having the final authority to make decisions for the schedule, and it has been proven to be very successful at sites. And it fits in with our joint effort to be collaborative and transparent across the board. But lastly tonight, I want to bring up a topic of school safety. This year, and this is my first fall semester as president, so I never began a school year before, but we've seen an uptick in serious safety concerns for our members and also for staff. This is concerning to us. It has a ripple effect. It goes beyond just the individual staff member or the individual student. It has a chilling effect within a classroom, within a school site, and I encourage all of us here to work together to be proactive, to help minimize that ripple effect, to increase this awareness, tighten procedures, and provide for training. I would like to uplift our current our Student Discipline Task Force, as a venue to help in this effort, help to debrief some of these incidents, and I would like to acknowledge Trustee Smith and Trustee Hoshi who provide their leadership on that task force. In wrapping up, I'd just like to share that we are committed as a union to continue down the road of transparency, communication, and collaboration this year. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Jeff. All right, and congratulations on the spread. That's great news. All right, next up, Heather Hutner. You have a report for us. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. President Randall Trejo, Board of Trustees, Executive Cabinets, staff, parents, students, and community members. Thank you for the opportunity to address you on behalf of classified CSEA members. CSEA members have been hard at work this past month helping to keep the district running, and I'd like to recognize the hard work put in by our members in the Health Benefits Department, as well as their director and the rest, everybody else who helped contribute to make this year's open enrollment happen a week early and with no major complaints to me, which is a major accomplishment. So thank you. Our school sites have been busy as usual, with our office staff being strained to their limits. As Jeff said, if they have an increase of incidents, that leads to an increase of students in our offices for our staff to deal with as well. We know that there has been a decline in student numbers across the district, and despite this decline in students, the demands on our office staff have continued to increase. This is true at our schools with much smaller populations, and even more true at our larger sites. Anaheim, Cypress, and Catella have not seen a huge drop in the number of enrolled students. In fact, according to Board Policy 6409, School Clerical Personnel Allotment, which is in fact still published on our website as a board policy, which means it should be active, those schools still fall into the same enrollment category that they did now, or as they did 10 years ago. And yet they do not have the same number of staff, and they do not have the number of staff that that policy states that they should. No wonder they have a hard time getting their work done. We talk about attendance, but those attendance clerks have no possible way to follow up with students who haven't been at school for a couple days. They're lucky if they can get through their voicemail. This trend is not isolated to the school offices, even though the policy is. We've heard in countless presentations how even with the total number of students declining, the number of special education students has increased. We have almost double the number of special education students now than we had 10 years ago, and yet there's been no increase in clerical support. I know SYS costs money, and it's doubtful that any federal funding will improve in the next 4 years. But the employees who work there deserve the same rights as those who work in better funded departments, just like our special ed students enjoy the same rights as our other students. Like Asta talked about safety, I'd also like to talk about safety both for our students and employees. As we hear about increases, it concerns me that at our third largest school, Catella, they've only had 2 permanent campus safety aides and a sub, and then yearly they get a long-term sub that's been approved. So 2 of those positions have kind of been in a constant rotation for years. This means they don't have a good safety team because you always have constantly moving people at one of our biggest schools. That means when we do have incidences, they're not a well-organized team to respond to incidences. 4 campus safety aides should be a given for a school that size. Campus safety aides have one of our most difficult and yet important jobs on our campuses. They rarely get to participate in the highs and the joys, but they're always called on to deal with the lows, and they get very little appreciation. So it's even more important that they're properly staffed so they're not overtaxed. Continuing in the vein of safety, with the success of Measure K, we can anticipate some building projects with our district. And as of 2023, any new buildings are required to have trauma bleeding control kits, which is great. But what about our other buildings? Will our students and staff not bleed if their injuries occur in an older building? Will your survival in an emergency depend on whether or not you're in a new building or an old building? Many of our sites still don't have any trauma or stop the bleed kits in case of a traumatic event, and this is something that needs to change. It's not a situation we can afford to be reactive to. We need to be proactive so that we can ensure that we are providing the safest environment possible regardless of what happens on our campus. I look forward to continuing these discussions with you because I know that together we can do great things for our students and community. Thank you.
Thank you. Lacey Munger.
Okay, good evening, AUHSD Board of Trustees, Superintendent Matsuda, Executive Board, and guests. Before I start my formal talk, I would like to piggyback on the back of ASTA and CSEA for safety and what our experiences have been the past few years. Coming back, I'll say post-COVID, we do have counselors who, as a group, we are in lunch duty on a regular basis. And just as our administrators are, we are often in areas by ourselves, and the lack of training and the lack of protocol for if anything were to happen on campuses is apparent these days. We do have students with street data letting us know that sometimes they are interested in transferring schools based on feeling unsafe on campus. That's something that we are going to continue to look into as we do our social emotional lessons. But I do want to support what we want to support what ASTA and CSEA are saying at this point. I think it's something that we need to look into as a district, just in terms of not only the safety of our members, of our staff, but our students and community members as well who are on our campuses. So with that said, as we find ourselves well into the second quarter, it's a significant time for our high school seniors. And with only 2 weeks remaining before the December 2nd deadline for CSU and UC applications, students are hard at work preparing for their submissions. For those applying to private and out-of-state schools, deadlines vary, but if you happen to know a high school senior, including our own student ambassador to the board, let's encourage them with words of support, reminding them that they are capable and that everything will work out the way it's supposed to. At the end of each quarter, our counseling departments compile data to assess and refine our practices. I'd like to share some key insights from our first quarter counseling report and some reflections with our ongoing efforts. What are we doing well? Our satellite data reflects high engagement from our counseling teams. Counselors throughout the district have conducted 78 parent presentations, written 226 letters of recommendation, which is a number we anticipate will continue to grow with the December 2nd deadline and post that with the private schools. And we have delivered 1,408 direct instruction lessons to students. These numbers highlight the significant role counselors play in connecting with AUHSD families and supporting our students. It also underscores the flexibility and collaboration from our teachers, who welcome counselors into their classrooms to teach during the school day. Where can we improve? Recently, we provided an update on our financial literacy efforts at the request of the board, specifically for seniors learning about financial aid. Survey results show that 50% of our students in grades 7 through 11 are concerned about college affordability and do not believe they can pursue their post-secondary education. This is why we teach financial literacy. And we have some work to do so that students feel that post-secondary educational can be affordable and attainable for them. While quantitative data tells part of the story, it's our street data that reveal our students' true thoughts. During college and career fair activities, students completed a strengths assessment and were given the time to reflect on their personal growth. The reflections tell a story of self-discovery and resilience, and I just want to share a few comments that we have been given. And we have many to share, but here's just 3. Before I saw myself as some loser who was boring, but now I perceive myself as super kind and interesting to talk to. My assessment says I am resilient, and I agree because I can deal with stress and handle pressure. I used to believe that I was sensitive, and if something happened, I would give up. Yet I'm surprised to learn I have resilience. The theme of resilience emerged repeatedly in our student reflections, and as counselors, we see that in our daily interaction with these kids. If you want more, don't worry. In the coming days, we will be sending the board the full quarterly report for you to look at. APGA welcomes your engagement, and we are always eager to share more about our work that our counselors do beyond these monthly updates. We would be happy to talk with any of you, talk with you as a board, to let you know exactly what we are doing. This report is just a glimpse into our daily efforts and the lasting impact that we strive to make for AUHSD. Thank you.
Thank you, Lacey. Raphael? Welcome.
Good evening, President Randall Trejo, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Mr. Matsuda, Executive Cabinet, students, parents, and school community joining us here in person and online. I get the privilege to share with you some of the great things that are happening around our district. For example, recently students from Sycamore and Dale Junior High Schools participated in an inspiring AIM event in partnership with the Kaiser Permanente Hippocrates program. This unique opportunity allowed students to engage in hands-on activities in actual operating rooms and explore the intriguing field of pathology within a professional lab setting. The day left the students inspired and eager to explore healthcare careers. We extend our gratitude to the Kaiser Permanente staff for their invaluable support in making this experience possible for our students. Western High School wanted to highlight that they held a vibrant Dia de los Muertos celebration showcasing the beauty of this rich cultural tradition. A special thank you to the Western's Hispanic Club, World Languages Department, Visual Arts Department, and the Puente English classes for their collaboration. The event was brought to life through partnerships with student clubs and community partners who provided delicious food and snacks for all in attendance. And now for sports. AUHSD schools proudly represented our athletic programs in the CIF playoffs. Football teams from Anaheim, Kennedy, Cypress, and Western. Kennedy's girls golf team. Girls tennis from Oxford, Kennedy, Catella, Western, and Magnolia. These achievements reflect our students' athletes' dedication, hard work, and the tremendous support of their coaches and communities. Kennedy High School wanted to highlight that they recently celebrated the grand reopening of its Family and Community Engagement Center, enhancing the support and resources available to our students and their families. This center stands as a testament to AUHSD's commitment to fostering strong connections with our school community. Recently, each AUHSD schools conducted a comprehensive analysis of first quarter grades. This deep dive allowed educators to identify areas of growth and strengthen instructional practices to support students' academic success throughout the year. Congratulations goes out to our AUHSD Teachers of the Year, Mr. Joseph King from Hope, Tim Reed from Kennedy, go Tim, Dr. Elizabeth Hine from Oxford Academy. Their dedication, innovation, and commitment to excellence have made a profound impact on our students and the entire AUHSD community. And one more thing here, as we celebrate School Psychologist Week, we extend our deepest gratitude to our AUHSD school psychologists for their invaluable contributions to our schools. Your commitment to supporting students' mental health, emotional well-being, and academic success is truly inspiring. You play a vital role in creating safe, inclusive, and supportive environments where every student can thrive. Thank you for your compassion, your expertise, and your dedication that you bring each day to empower our students, families, and staff. We are incredibly grateful for all of you. And in closing, we celebrate the dedication and achievements that make AUHSD a thriving and inclusive community. From exceptional learning experiences and cultural celebrations to our students' accomplishments in academics, athletics, and in the arts. These successes reflect the commitment of our students, teachers, staff, and all of our community partners. Together, we continue to build an environment where every student is inspired to reach their highest potential. Thank you to all of you who contribute to our mission of excellence. We look forward to the continued growth and accomplishments that lie ahead this year. Thank you.
And thank you to all of our associations for coming and giving us your reports. Is anyone here from PTA?
No, I'll stay here.
Okay. All right, moving on to our public comments. We have two speakers on the same, so that'll be fine, independent studies. Tanya Bogdanovich. Welcome.
And I want to say congratulations, Mr. Ron Hoshi. It's great to have you on the board. I'm here as a representative and a voice for hundreds of students and their parents of these students in the Independent Studies program. And so I'm a voice for them because we recently found out that the Independent Studies will no longer exist following this school year, 24-25. The IS program has been a blessing to hundreds of students that either have learning disabilities, mental health issues, social anxiety disorders, or other factors that inhibit their educational success. The IS program offers one-to-one instruction, guidance, and tutoring in a modified small group setting. The students can be on campus in this modified environment and still feel included as part of the student body. The district is planning on offering only in-class or virtual, and I am a retired school teacher. I retired in 21, and my last year during COVID, I taught virtual. And we all know, no doubt about it, that was not a positive environment for the students, not one bit. So I do not know why we would have those two choices only available after this school year when the independent studies is such a wonderful program. And so I want to know why the district wants to shut down the program that has given hundreds of students the ability to achieve academic excellence, security, and confidence. Many more students who wanted to attend were turned away this year, so the need is there, and the district gets paid for attending students. Many of these students would have dropped out of school or continued to suffer with their disabilities. Why would the district want to continue offering virtual environment that has been proven to isolate, discourage, and add to the mental health issues of these students? That's my question. The teachers and counselors, I have a student at Cypress High, and we have had the most wonderful experience. I'm sorry, but I just want to say a shout out to Mr. Chastain, Mr. Okula, and Mr. Hortuda. They have been nothing but compassionate and wonderful. They've gone over and beyond. They've taught guitar lessons and taken them on field trips and made them feel self-worth. And so it's my hopes that you would reconsider keeping the independent studies program and let them be on campus as they are this year. And I didn't plan on talking about this, but I'll tell you right now, as a parent. And if your numbers are down right now in this school district, they will continue. If you continue to allow pornographic, explicit literature on our campuses. If those kids or anybody else wants to read that stuff, let them buy the book and read it at home in the privacy of their home. But when I went to school, we did not have Playboy magazines allowed for the boys who were sexually active so that they could read those and all the children be exposed to that. So that is not okay. In Huntington Beach, I listened to their board meeting and I stand for that. So please.
Thank you. Jamie Ventura, next.
I'm gonna cry. I'm just gonna warn you now. I'm Jamie. My daughter's a senior at Cypress. The IS program has been an absolute blessing to her. I'm a single mother. I'm an RN in the mental health setting, and there's some Kleenex things. And I think doing away with this program is a huge detriment to families by forcing them to choose the lesser of two evils between going to Polaris, which I Googled is 20 minutes from my home, which round trip for parents that only have one car, gas prices are going up. These kids can go to school, get the help, the love, and support that they so desperately need in these times. When you keep it in their home school, they have the feeling of inclusion, of being allowed to participate in these school events and the social aspects that COVID just ripped away from these kids. I was very upset, as you can tell. Mr. Lara was the one who ran the meeting. As families, we were all blindsided that this would even be a consideration by the board. I don't know any teachers or families that are in support of this. I sent several emails, I asked several questions, and not one of them was answered over this past week, which is very upsetting. I felt compelled to come here today. My daughter is a senior, so I could really turn around and care less. It doesn't matter, but after seeing the help that she has gotten, I think all of the children of our community and families deserve to continue this opportunity. And I am urging you all to stop what you're doing and take into consideration what you are doing to these families by removing it from their local schools and locations. Some kids have health issues. My daughter has stomach issues. She cannot go to school every day, all day. She has had guidance, support when she was in regular school and she'd miss a week trying to stay on top of her school plus what she's missing. School's not the same anymore. There's so much pressure on these kids academically, and this program helps them to have care, concern, support. I would have never sent my daughter to Gilbert or Polaris if that was the only option when this was presented to us. And I've been so extremely happy with her and how she's progressed. And I was absurdly upset at Mr. Lara and his gaslighting, lying, the lack of transparency, and the level of just silence when we've all asked our questions and wondered like how this even came about, and not one person has answered that. So like I said, once again, I urge you to stop what you're progressing with for next year and planning, and reevaluate what you're doing to these families and children, because the cost outweighs the benefit for these kids and what their mental well-being should be considered.
Thank you. Would the board entertain some clarification on this subject right now? Yes.
Clarify something?
Yeah.
Yeah, just to shed a little bit of light. So next year, what we've learned is, like the speaker just mentioned, some of the mental health related challenges many of our students are faced with. The independent studies program does not come with a counselor or a social worker. The Independent Learning Center does. So, but it's still an independent studies program. So at Cypress next year, they'll be shifting over to an independent learning study program where they'll have independent studies, but now a social worker and a counselor as part of the program. Now there are contractual language that we're obligated to follow in the hiring of teachers in an ILC. So that's the process we have to go through. So it's not an automatic, if you're in the IS, you get to go to the ILC. You have to go through a process because there's contractual language around that. But the program will be shifting to an ILC so they get those additional supports on top of the independent studies. For students who don't feel like they need those additional supports, then yes, you heard CVA becomes an option, or Gilbert, or the traditional independent studies without those supports could be Polaris. But for students who want to remain like on a Cypress campus, they'll have the independent studies program with those additional supports they are not getting this year.
Okay, any follow-up? Okay, thank you for that. Our next speaker, Lizette Barrios Gracian. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Lizette Barrios Gracian. I am a teacher here at AUHSD. I'm also a parent. I reside in Anaheim. And I am here because I'm very concerned about the request of banning the book Genderqueer. Firstly, book banning is not democratic. No one has the right to decide what books the general public should have access to. If someone disagrees with a topic on a book, they have the right to not check it out of the library, but they should not have the right to decide for the rest of us. What is next? The banning of books in our required reading lists? Secondly, this is an attack at our LGBTQ community. Calling the book soft porn is an attempt to scare our community and equate same-sex love with being immoral. I ask that this board start having a conversation on being a sanctuary, not only to our LGBTQ community, but also to every single student that is part of a minority community, because the danger is palpable. I would like to end by reading Judy Blume's, who is one of the most successful children's authors from our country. This is what she said about genderqueer. I just read a book that was wonderfully enlightening to me. It's called Genderqueer. It's probably the #1 banned book in America right now, and I thought, this young person is telling me how they come to be, what they are today. And I learned a lot and became even more empathetic. That's what books are all about. By the way, I own a bookstore, and I would like to donate a copy of Genderqueer to every single library in our district. Good evening.
Okay, Sotelo. Welcome.
Good evening. My name is Dulce Sotelo, and I'm here because Marcela Deem and Elizabeth Taylor, who are employed at Anaheim High School, are trying to remove the book Genderqueer, a memoir, from our libraries, a book that provides a sense of belonging and understanding for our LGBTQ students, because it doesn't sit well with their personal values. AUHSD has its 5 C's, one of them being compassion. Is compassion only given when it aligns with our personal beliefs? Banning one book can take us on a slippery slope of more books to be banned. I'm asking you to be fair and compassionate and allow our book to stay in our libraries. Thank you.
Thank you. Kelly Gallagher.
Good evening, and thank you for allowing me a couple of minutes. I am Kelly Gallagher. I taught at Magnolia High School for 35 years, and I am the author of 10 books on teaching adolescent literacy. I'm here today because in my 35 years, one thing became completely apparent to me, and that is that if we're going to raise readers in this society, that kids need to see themselves in the books that are available to them. And they also need to read books about people that are very unfamiliar to them. And I want to share with you a study that was done by 2 prominent researchers, Gay Ivey and Peter Johnston, who took a group of 8th graders and stayed with them for 4 years, so 8th grade through 10th grade. And they allowed them to choose what to read. And the thesis of their book is that rather than harming children, that disturbing or edgy books and giving them unfettered access actually benefited the students. Particularly the LGBTQ community, seeing themselves in books could literally be a life-saving book for them. What they found in this 4-year study, there's 6 of them and I only have a minute, so I'll be very quick. They found that kids became more empathetic. They developed empathy for other human beings when they were allowed to read about race, death, gender, sexuality, culture, language, mental health, and household income. Reading about those topics developed empathy in kids. They improved relationships, both inside their family units and both outside their family units, because they had things to talk about. They became more thoughtful. They became happier, and the books actually helped some students heal from some of the trauma they themselves had experienced. So I'm going to conclude with reading a little paragraph. Reading about people with complicated lives helps students become more empathetic, less judgmental, more likely to seek multiple viewpoints, morally stronger, and happier. Yes, happier. They improved self-control and built more and stronger friendships and family relationships. Students reported they became better people when given access to books about the real world. This book is not a core work. It is not taught. It is on a library shelf. And I always honored any parent who felt the book was not appropriate for their kid, but there is no parent that can determine if a book is appropriate for my kid or other kids. I bought a copy of their study for the 5 board members. I would have bought a copy for the entire division. However, I'm on a teacher retirement salary.
Thank you. Jermaine Newman. Welcome.
Hello. Hello, board, parents, community members, people watching online. I want to talk today on behalf of our books. I want to encourage you to keep all our books in our learning spaces, and including Genderqueer by Maya Cabot. I'm going to share a story with you about a boy named Tony. When Tony was 6 years old, he immigrated to the United States with his parents and his older brother and sister. Much like many of our newcomer families, his family came to the United States to escape a war. His parents worked really hard to provide their family in this new country. Tony and his siblings went to school and worked very hard too. They all wanted the American dream. But when Tony reached adolescence, he started feeling that he was different from other kids. He did not have the words or vocabulary to describe what he was feeling, what he was going through. His parents and his siblings noticed as well. They loved their son, and they did not want him to be different. Coming from an Asian culture, they knew that his life would be hard. They knew he had already faced discrimination for being immigrants in the United States. They did not want their son to face more discrimination. They did not have any books or resources to help them understand what Tony was going through. They thought they would help him, so they started to yell at him. They started to beat him. They were doing this out of love, and they thought they were going to help him not be something that he already was. He had nothing to help him understand why he was the way he was. He didn't have the books like Genderqueer. He didn't have the resources. Eventually, he graduated from high school and went away to college. While he met other students people like him at the University of Virginia, he still had a family that did not understand why he was the way he was. Tony loved his family. He did not want to disappoint them. He had no words, no vocabulary to describe why he was this way. He was an avid reader and spent many hours alone reading comic books, graphic novels, just like Genderqueer. But Genderqueer was not in his library. It was not available to him. On December 9th, 1989, Tony was supposed to come home from college for the Christmas break. Instead, alone in his dorm room, Tony shot himself. He did not have the tools to get him the help that he needed to make him to be understood. Now, Tony's parents, my sister-in-law, my brother-in-law, they would do anything to have their son back. They would do anything to have him back in their family. So please, keep this book on the shelves. Keep all our books on their shelves, because there's many thousands of kids like Tony who have ended their lives because they don't have one little book on the shelf that could make them feel like they're not alone. Thank you.
Thank you. Yaris Rodriguez Ritchie.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for allowing me to speak here today. My name is Edris Rodriguez Ritchie. I am a resident here in Anaheim, and I also happen to be a non-binary person. I'll try and be brief and just tell you that this is frankly silly. The concept that we will ban a book is incredibly silly, and it is not lost on me the irony that we celebrated kindness here today while we heard hate over here. So I ask you to choose kindness here today, to choose having books for our children that frankly have had zero impact, considering that only one person has checked the book out at each of the 2 locations. And I share something with you as somebody who, not just as a non-binary person, but a person who sits on the board of a local LGBTQ nonprofit, as a person who works for an employer and someone who led a group of LGBTQ employees that number in 3,000 individuals, as someone who has worked for 3 federal agencies, has led LGBTQI+ employee groups at 2 federal agencies, and as someone who led a group not just at my high school, not just at my undergrad, but also at my law school. And lastly, I would be remiss if I didn't correct the record And note that while there might not be a financial impact to removing the book, there certainly is an impact in terms of potential future litigation if a book is banned. And there is also an additional impact in the potential for losing grant money should we choose hate. So thank you very much, and I urge you to not ban the book.
And Sean Pfeiffer?
Probably heard me coming up, it's like jingle bells, right? I'm almost embarrassed to come before you, President Trejo, trustees, executive cabinet, and in front of this audience with the girth and heavy things that we deal with. But I do want to talk about keys. I've been here in this district for 25 years. You entrusted me as a school teacher, as a site administrator, and now as an athletic director at Cypress High School. We have over 1,000 athletes. We field 27 sports. And athletic directors are on campus the longest, most times, oftentimes as the admin designee alone. I've been the first responder to a staff member when I called 911, when I had assessed the situation, called 911. I then told them the easy access. I went to unlock the mullion. I didn't even know what a mullion was. It's the locking bar between two double doors. My key couldn't open that to get the emergency crew in. I've since discovered that they can get their gurney through the regular door, but they had to go around. We've been on campus for Spirit Squad events where families come to travel and celebrate on a Saturday morning. Again, not the right keys, right? I have 3 keys to access my classroom, to navigate to my classroom, right? I've asked our senior admin assistant for some help. Can we rekey some of these locks? Can we make sure we have access? I was there Christmas last year, the Friday, we're on break, I was there on a Friday, at 6 a.m. to let in a crew to do the weight room floor. As the athletic director, you think that my athletic master would open that door. It did not. So they're there ready to tear up the floor. It's a silly request, I know. I'm a little cheeky with the jingle bells coming up, right? Everyone at Cypress High School knows when I'm walking down the hall before I come in the door. I respectfully request that the board reevaluate their key distribution process. When a 21-year-old sub-custodian has the keys to the kingdom, right, and I have a little more investment in the school. I was told that the custodians that come to campus, they check them out, and they check them back in every day. I check my keys out too yearly, right, and I have a little more investment. ASB has master keys that would do the mullion, right? That would get me into that room, that weight room. Counselors. Every time I've seen a counselor go somewhere as an administrator, as a teacher, they're going somewhere where kids are. There's a key already opening it. So I just respectfully ask, please reevaluate your key distribution. In this era of AI, ChatGPT writing, condolence letters, writing, I won't confess to it, but birthday messages to wives. I think we've thrown away our human logic. This is a simple softball considering the heavy topics we're dealing with. But please just reevaluate the key distribution process. Thanks.
Thank you, Sean. All right, moving on to 9.1, school-sponsored student organizations. This is an action item, and 9.16 was pulled prior to the meeting.
Move to approve the balance.
Second.
In a second, and Aaron, you get to vote with us on this. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. Resolutions 9.2, resolution number 2024/25-B-07, closed general obligation bond, election 2014, series 2019, fund 2127. This is an action item.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and said, any questions or comments, celebrations? Okay, seeing none, this is a roll call vote. Mr. Hoshi?
Aye.
Mr. O'Neill?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Guerrero?
Aye.
And I vote aye. I think this is a little cheer, come on. All right, resolution number 9.32024/25-E, -10 day of the special educator. I'm going to move this item.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Questions or comments on this item? Just, this is, we serve a significant amount of special needs students, and special educator, they do wonderful work. And this
They are
work-
special.
They are very special, and just to recognize Joey King, who was our Orange County, recognized as Orange County Teacher of the Year just about a week ago, yeah, from Hope. So, action item, roll call vote. Mr. Hoshi?
Aye.
Mr. O'Neill?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Guerrero?
Aye.
And I vote aye. 9.4, Agreement Alliance for Schools for Cooperative Insurance Programs, action item.
So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Questions or comments? No? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Education Services, 9.5, Challenge of Instructional Materials. This is an action item.
So moved.
Second?
Moved and second. Any questions or comments?
Yes, I wanted to find out from the Ed Division, the process, who was on the challenge committee, how were those people selected? If you could explain that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe
So,
myself.
absolutely, thank you, Trustee Hoshi. So we have a board policy that talks about instructionally challenged materials, and in that policy, it asks the person in my chair, right, the Assistant Superintendent of Ed Services, to lead a process and to form a committee to evaluate the challenge materials. And so when I went to select the committee, the policy actually suggests members who could sit on that committee. So it's not intended to be a large group, but a small group. And so I honored the policy, worked with the district site staff to find representatives who would serve on that committee. So I had two high school students, got permission from those students' parents to be able to be on the committee and read the book. Also, two teachers, one being a district English teacher, district department chair, and then also we had a director serve on the committee, we had a site principal serve on the committee, we had a parent serve on the committee as well. And then I oversaw this committee. So as part of the process, what the board policy requires is for the committee to, one, read the book. So we purchased books for each of the committee members to read. It also required that we provide any related materials and research connected to the book and the related topics. So we provided a bunch of research for the participants on this committee. We also were intentional to make sure that the materials that we provided were balanced and neutral in nature, right? Because we wanted to make sure it's a fair and neutral process. So I think as one of the speakers mentioned, it is one of the most challenged books in the country. So we also printed out some articles and some research connected to the different decisions districts have made and why the districts made those decisions. So they had, again, both perspectives of why some districts have chosen to retain the book and other districts may have chosen to ban the book. So after going through that process, and we went through that with them the first meeting, they then were given the charge to go read the book and review those materials. They could also do their own research at their own time. When we came back, one of the, not requirements, but one of the options within the committee is you can also interview the challenger. So we did have someone obviously who challenged the book, which is why it came to our attention, right? And I think as Mr. Gallagher said, it is in a school library. It is not part of curriculum. It's not being used in English curriculum or health curriculum. It's part of the school library for a student to choose. And it's currently at two of our schools, Magnolia High School and Anaheim High School. So that's where the book was at. We brought in two of the challengers, or a challenger who brought another person with them, and we interviewed them for about 25, 30 minutes and just asked perspective in terms of why they felt the book needed to be challenged, and went through that dialogue. When they left, our committee spent probably a little less than 2 hours, probably about an hour and 45 minutes deliberating after we've read the book in terms of the recommendation that we were going to make to our board. So through that conversation, and we had everyone sign the kind of the confidentiality agreement in terms of what was being discussed, because people have their own perspectives after they read. As you saw, the committee that we had unanimously wanted to recommend that the book be retained and not banned from our school library. So that's the recommendation before you. That's a process we went through. That's how we selected the committee. I have since collected all the books back from the committee. I know you've been given copies so you can read. And then pending this decision, we'll determine where the next steps. Does that answer your question? And then I think those are the questions you asked.
How many sites were represented?
We had 1, 2, 3, I think 4 sites represented.
Okay.
Both east, west, central. I mean, in terms of the folks, yeah, represent the entire district and scope.
Good representative of everyone. In some of your research, what were some of the reasons that the districts retained the book?
Great question. So I think as you heard from a number of the speakers tonight, one, we found that the books taught and provided empathy, diverse perspectives. The research that Mr. Gallagher spoke to was clear in our research too, that it provided a more holistic, well-rounded student who appreciated not only others and potentially their struggles, but also their own journey and determining who they are as a person. There was also connections to the happier lives. We also went deeper in terms of, I think you have in front of you our LCAP and our own AUHSD values and drivers. That's one of the things that we talked about as a committee is our core values as a district. And again, as a committee, the belief was keeping the book really reflected our core values and drivers as a district. We really do believe in whole child. We really do believe in all student voices, students being seen and heard and valued for who they are. So that's something our committee felt deeply about. They also felt because it was in the library, it is a choice. Students don't have to select the book if they don't want to, but again, it wasn't for us to determine who gets and who doesn't. So I think the consensus from this group was as a democracy school district, it wasn't our place to recommend banning a book, that families and students can choose the books that they read. And that's the feeling and sentiment of the committee. And it was unanimous, and we had a pretty diverse group serving on this committee.
Yes, Superintendent.
I'd like to just speak as an English teacher that, I mean, there are 2 takeaways from this. One is affirming who you are and seeing your own story reflected in the narrative. And number 2, as was pointed out, to build empathy and compassion for the other. And I think that we are in a world right now where many of our students, many of the adults are feeling othered in the society. And I think that as Dr. Freed said, that this reflects our core values. And if you think about, I know we've had discussions about ethnic studies as well, but similarly, ethnic studies affirms our own journeys and our own stories. At the same time, it builds empathy for others who have different stories than us. So I think this is a very critical juncture for the district and the message of affirmation and love and compassion.
Thank you. Any other questions?
No questions, but comments.
Go ahead.
I want to thank the committee for their thoughtful and thorough process, and thank you for leading that. I want to echo some of the public comments that remain. It's very important to distinguish between a library book and a curriculum book. Genderqueer is a library book, not a book that's part of our curriculum. The book serves as a tool to foster empathy and understanding of LGBTQ experiences. And I want to echo one of the students that spoke, who said it really well. I wrote it down. She said, our library should be a reflection of the diversity of our students. And I think that's a very profound statement. And our library should serve as a resource for our students. And I would agree with the committee, removing the book would remove the resources for our students. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I have a comment.
Okay.
Do you want to go ahead?
Okay. Over the years, I've known, I'm going to use an old term, the gay community. I've been aware of that, and I thought I was fairly knowledgeable and understanding. Excuse me. But when I had the opportunity to read the book, I became educated, and I thank you for just the opportunity to read it. And I don't think that I know I would not want somebody out here in the audience or watching to tell me what I can and cannot read. It should be up to me, and if I'm a minor, my parents to give me guidance on what I should be reading. So I listened to what people had to say tonight, and thank you very much, and very supportive. Thank you.
So as a board member, I recognize that genderqueer provides an important perspective that fosters understanding of the experiences and challenges faced by transgender individuals. The memoir offers meaningful insights, which I believe can be valuable for students seeking a deeper understanding of these issues. I also believe that as a district, we need to ensure that we provide a safe space for our students, whether it be through open discussions, support staff such as counselors and social workers, or simply being a place that is free from judgment. However, as a representative of the students and parents in our community, I also need to consider whether the images in the book are inappropriate for a public high school campus. I don't believe our community would find the images contained in that book to be appropriate for a school library. For students interested in reading genderqueer, I would encourage them to explore alternative sources such as local libraries or online platforms, where they can access the book in a context that allows for personal discretion. As we build our Parent Learning Academy, I'm hoping that we can include supporting parents in having open conversations with their students as a future topic.
I have a personal story to share with you, and I think it will help people to understand more what we are dealing with on this issue of genderqueer. My story starts when I was in college. I had a niece come in, was born, and she was named after me, and her name's Kathy. And at the same time, one of my other family members had a child, a boy, and he's just a wonderful human being. And when they were growing up in preschool time, I would babysit them. And one of the things that I observed at a very young age, because I grew up in a community in Northern California, you would never, ever know about anything of this nature in our society. So, number of years go by, and they came down to see me. And the purpose was to tell me that they were gay. And I said, you've always been wonderful human beings. You've treated people kindly, and I love you dearly. And just go on being the people that you've been. And I wish them well, and I've supported them over the years. So my next story is, we're going to jump decades back closer to where we are now. We have some very dear friends that came out from Indiana. The husband went through school with my husband from high school to college. And he married, and he was transferred to California, to Anaheim, and they came to our home, and they had 2 young boys they had driven across country with. They were probably 3, 4 years old, and they're very close in age. And they're a wonderful family, and I know their boys as they've grown up. And I will tell you, they're both extremely athletic. They had bicycles that their parents met with them in Spain, and they bicycled across the continent to the other side of Europe. And the same thing happened. They got bicycles in Venezuela, and they biked all the way down to, I can't think of the name now, but it's the very bottom tip, southern tip of South Africa. And the older one met a gal, and she's a physician, and they married and moved to New York, and he's a college professor. And the other boy met a gal in Columbia, and he stayed there for a while, and then they came to Anaheim, and I invited them to dinner, and I loved his wife, Jimena, and it was just a very positive thing. Now I'm going to tell you the part of the story that everybody should understand. That people are born certain ways. My nephew never played with balls. He played with dolls. And my niece never played with dolls. She played with balls. And so the fact that I observed that at a very young age, I just kept it up here. I didn't talk about it. And so years go on, and I get a phone call from the family now living here in in Anaheim. It's a hard story to tell. And the mother of the boys called me and asked me if I would have lunch with her. And we met. And the purpose of her request was to ask my advice. Her son wanted to become a girl, and he was in his 40s. And I listened, and she didn't know what to do. She was crying, and my response to her was, you and your husband have always been loving, dear parents to these boys, and you've been very close with them. Traveled extensively over the years. And I said, how would you feel if you rejected your son on his goal? Because the holidays will come, birthdays will come, and your family will not be complete. And I said, based on that, I would advise you to continue to love him and support him. It's not the end of the story. So he divorced Jimena, and he went through the process of being a girl. And very recently, his father was terminally ill, and his mother had invited very close family friends. My husband and I were included, and their son, that now was a girl, interestingly enough, and a psychiatrist might be able to explain this, he chose the same name as his sister-in-law, but he is a name without an A at the end. His sister-in-law does. So the name is the same, but it's got one of them has an A after it, Diana. So we were at the house, and she wanted us to go in and see her husband. And we went back in the living room, and Diane was there. And I went over and hugged her. And her hair was very long. And she was dressed more in a male type of costume or outfit. And I told her I loved her. And I was so happy she was doing well. She lives up in Sacramento, and she raises rare birds. So over the years, we've gone over to see her birds that she brings down. And that story ends with her father her father, their husband and father, died 2 days later. And I called my girlfriend, and I was very grateful that she had made the decision that she did to support Diane. So I can think you can understand how I'm going to vote, because this has been a life journey for me. I have learned over the years and grown. And I'm thinking that telling my story will help those out in the very extreme groups that would oppose this, religious groups. And I have an array of friends in my life that span the entire spectrum of politics, from the very religious right to the very left. And I listen. I don't believe everything I hear or see, but I take it in and I focus on what I can decide I feel. And I feel very, very supportive of these people. And this book, I think, maybe will save a life. And I wish everyone well. I wish everyone love, that we can understand we're all different. We're not born this way. It's a genetic thing that we are born with, and that we have to understand and grow from that. And I want to thank you for your patience for listening to this long story. I hope that it will help you to understand my vote.
Thank you. I neglected to read something that was handed to me before public comments, and I was struck by these words, but I found out that we really didn't need it. You all, you know, modeled kind behavior. You told your stories, and you were respectful of everyone. And so I'll be brief. I think in all my years of coming to board meetings, I think this is the first time that this has ever come to this district. I like to think that our district has displayed compassion and love and kindness and openness. And so while we don't want to demonize anyone who brought this forward, because look what it did. It brought about a conversation, and it brought about all of us thinking. I probably would have never read this book had this challenge not been here. So far to say, though, I am an ally, and I've been an ally for, I think, since the day I was born. And you know, as a trustee, I did not get in this seat to ban books, to discriminate. I think I'm an other, and so I understand what it feels like to go to a library and really try to find a subject or person that looked like me, or who understood, or somebody who had experiences like me. So I want to thank the people who actually came forward. I'm always respectful of diverse ideas, and whether I agree or disagree, I think that all of us here proved that we are in a democracy, and that's really important. People that do not have the same beliefs as us, we need to really not challenge them, but question and talk with them, have an open dialogue. And if anyone out there is watching, I think this really demonstrated that. And as a school district that has been recognized as the first democracy district, I'm very proud to sit here in this seat and sort of oversee this conversation. I thank everyone for coming, especially the students here. We truly value your opinions, and we truly value who you are. All right. So we're voting on this item 9.5, challenge of instructional materials. All in favor of saying no or agreeing with the committee to not ban this book? All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose?
Nay.
All right. 9.6, Agreement Copious, Inc., action item.
So moved.
Do I have a
Second.
Second. Any questions or comments on this item? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
9.7, Affiliation Agreement Poke Wars, action item.
Slow move.
Second.
Okay, first, this is a new AIM partner. I love it. We're adding on to our collection.
Is this the first retail that we've had, or
No, I don't think so. I don't know.
besides restaurants?
Yeah, I would say that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
9.8, Membership Accrediting Commission for Schools, Western Association of Schools and Colleges, WAS. Action item,
So moved.
Second.
moved and seconded. Questions or comments? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
9.9, Human Resources, public hearing, Board of Trustees appointment, reappointment of Personnel Commission member. This is, does anyone wish to speak on this item? Okay, hearing none. We already took formal action on this to publicly announce Paul Andreessen as the candidate to serve as the Board of Trustees Personnel Commission appointee for the upcoming term. All right, and congratulations.
He's in the audience.
In
Congratulations.
the audience. They would like for you to speak, Paul. And your last name is Andreessen. Correct. Okay, for the record.
I know, spell check wants to make it Anderson, what can I say?
Yes.
No, hey, I appreciate the opportunity to serve. I thank you for reinstating me. It has been a great experience being on the commission. I've learned a lot. Very much appreciative of our staff and our director, who do a great job every day. And thank you for your support of what we do, and I'll be glad to be a part of it, continue for 3 more years. Thank you.
Bravo, thank you.
Thank you.
I'd just like to say, Paul, you're top quality coming from the Y, and not so much retired anymore. What do they say? You get busier when you retire. But I really appreciated you coming on. We really desperately needed you at the time to serve. We needed some reconfiguration of the commission, and you've been a staunch supporter of our staff, classified staff, and our staff as a whole, and impeccable character. And we appreciate seeing you at events, and we appreciate the time and effort that it takes for you, because it's basically a voluntary position. So we really appreciate your time and effort. Thank you. Anyone else? All right. Speaking for everybody tonight. Okay, moving on. Public hearing. Disclosure of collective bargaining agreement with AFSCME. Anyone here to speak? Seeing none, closing the public hearing. I love doing that. 9/11, adoption of the 2023-24 collective bargaining agreement with AFSCME, action item.
Slow move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions or comments? No, hearing none. We're so happy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. 9/12, revised board policy 6203.19270, conflict of interest, second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved as an action item. Any questions or comments? Okay, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, consent calendar. Anyone have anything to pull?
10.10 and 10.11.
Move for the ballot.
I just wanted to move 10.3, 10.4, just for a quick comment.
10.3 and 10.4.
So motion for the balance, I heard.
Motion for the ballot.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, 10.3, 10.4, motion.
So moved.
Second.
And second, I just wanted to say I love seeing these figures when they come in under bid, so under budget. So congratulations on these. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, 10.10, 10.11.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Abstention?
Aye.
All righty, moving on to our reports of the board. I'm sorry, of the superintendent.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to put a shout out to all of the staff, the teachers, admin, students, parents, and community, but most importantly to the taxpayers for saying yes to AUHSD, yes to our students, yes to our future, and yes to a better world. Measures K has passed 67% and counting, and it's really an affirmation of all the great work that we do in our brand. AUHSD is better than ever. Thank you very much.
Bravo, thank you.
Thanks. I want to echo on that, being AUHD being better than ever. Yesterday, we held our second Leading and Learning Lab visit that Jeff had mentioned earlier, but I just want to give a shout out to, again, our team for the great work that they did. It was over 120 people that were in the room, mostly from the state of California, but a large contingency from Oregon. So obviously it's spreading on a national level. So just a great, great day. Also want to give a big shout out to Dale Junior High and Magnolia. I know Raphael and Aaron were here. I don't think they still are, but they were the two schools selected to host this time's site visits and reflective learning walks. And I know we take turns, but they did a great job as well. So excited about the great work being done there. And then also, I think Raphael said this, but I wanted to give a shout out to our school psychologists on National School Psychologist Week for all the great work that they do.
Thank you. No report?
No comment.
Okay.
Just wanted to say again, I attended the Teacher of the Year event with many of the board members here, including our Superintendent, Joey King, Dr. Hine, Tim Reed. Just thank you so much for your service and for the example that you're showing to everyone. I attended the La Palma State of the City event, as well as the swearing in of the Chief of Police, Joe Guerrero. He is a great man, and I actually had a meeting with him today, and so getting to work with them and the new partnership we have with the City of La Palma as well. And finally, attended the Western High School CIF football game. They did amazingly. Unfortunately, they did not move to the next round, but I just wanted to thank the entire team, a Western High School football team, for all their hard work, and congratulations to Anaheim High School for making to the next round. Tomorrow night at 7 p.m. at the Glover. Thank you.
Good plug.
I just wanted to share that Dr. Tess Melendrez, the coordinator of Special Youth Services, and I have started traveling to every site. We're conducting administrator trainings in small groups, and so we have begun that process, and I want to thank Gilbert High School, Kennedy High School, and Western High School for their warm receptions and the fantastic conversations we had in those small groups. So tomorrow we will be at South and continuing on.
Thank you. And we honor you as the special educator. Yes, in that resolution.
Nancy, you kind of stole my thunder.
It's very sad for me to, you know.
Well, I do want to comment on, obviously give kudos to all of our band directors, and we had Band Spectacular last night, and we've seen a lot of emails back and forth from just the great things that happened, the great, obviously all of our band directors across the district always put on an amazing show, and our students that are a part of that. Also, just on the heels of Veterans Day, just a lot of gratitude to all of our folks that have served in the military. We have a couple here, served in the Navy, Mr. O'Neill, Trustee O'Neill, and Mr. Greenwood. I'm not sure if we have anyone else that served in the military, and we also have a lot of staff across the district and even parents, of our students. So just a lot of gratitude for their service, past and current, to all of those folks that have been a part of the military. And last, going back to Anaheim, yes, congratulations to all of our teams that qualified. Magnolia's tennis team is in the finals, which is amazing, to Coach Famel and her team, and to Anaheim, who's in the second round. Undefeated, 5-0 this year in league. So looking forward to Friday night's game tomorrow at 7 p.m. at Glover. Get there early because parking's going to be a little bit of a challenge. We're going to have to park at Horace Mann, which is where I went to elementary school.
Oh, my turn. Okay. On the 18th, I went to a fun run at Lexington Junior High School, and they raised so much money that they used that money for all their activities throughout the year. I want to give kudos to Mr. Bautista, our PIO, because he had 22 alumni graduates that they created this film, directed, starred in it. Tape Man, and Dr. Nian and we were at the Starlight Theater in Lakewood, and I learned something about Dr. Nian. She really thought that the butter on the popcorn was real butter, and I had to remind her it was oil, you know. So I thought, you know.
It was delicious.
We went to the state of La Palma, Dr. Nian, Mr. O'Neill and I, state of La Palma, and then I met a gentleman through Mr. Matsuda that was, he was an officer with the National Guard, and so I got to ride a Black Hawk helicopter over Dodger Stadium and the Hollywood sign, and what a treat that was, because they're going to be offering that to educators all over Southern California to encourage people to join the military. Western High School had a game night with their special ed students on the 24th, and then Friday the 25th we had the ribbon cutting and then their homecoming game. Oxford had their first summit, and Aaron and Ureli did a great job. And Gilbert has they actually have an alternative ed basketball league that was playing at Oxford the same day that I went there for the summit. So that was, so Coach Laura, I saw him as a coach, and it was great watching him. Parent Leadership Academy at St. Claret, I've been going to those, and it's been a great joy to get to know some new families and some parents from all over the district. Cambridge had their market day on the 1st, and then, like they said, we went to the Orange County Teacher of the Year. The theme was resilient and strong. Oxford Academy had an instrumental music concert on the 2nd, and then before that, one of their students had raised money for Olive Crest. Last year, he did a project, raised $4,000 for Olive Crest, which is, I believe, one of our partners, and I think this year he matched that, but this is Cameron Oates. State of La Palma, I said that already. Kennedy High School had their opening for their community center, or their reopening, and I joined Trustee O'Neill and Guerrero over there. And then Cambridge Virtual Academy had an incredible Thanksgiving staff opening, and I went there with Mr. O'Neill. Coffee with the principal at Lexington Junior High School. What I liked about that was they talked about e-bikes and how that's changing, like traffic, and how we have to have more safety programs with e-bikes and skateboards, because some of these things go really fast, and kids are riding other kids, and they're not riding with helmets. So I think we're going to be doing and talking about that a little bit more at other school sites. Oxford Academy's in the Heights, incredible soloist. I felt like I was on Broadway with these soloists, but they had their entire choir program there. And then the other day I went to the coffee with the principal, and we continued to discuss the redesign with Orangeview and Western, and we got more parent input with that. Let's see, the 12th, I went to the girls volleyball team state playoffs from Cypress High School, which was at Pauley High School in Long Beach. So congrats to our girls for making it that far. And again, I see Mr. Belsky, our director of our VAPA program in our district. I want to give him kudos, and Scott Dominguez for the wonderful performance that we had last night from our bands. That Proposition 28 money is really working, because the quality of the students, and at some of our schools, we even have 2 instrumental music directors now. So we could say that that's really impacting our students, and it's connecting the kids to our schools, and I love that. And today I got the opportunity to go to the second Parent Leadership Academy today in the La Palma room. So thank you, Carlos and Araceli and Kenny, for your leadership with that. By the way, the room was packed. It was no empty seats. So I just really want to applaud all the parents for their involvement and connectedness.
No wonder your legs were tired last night. Thank you, Mr. Hoshi. Mr. O'Neill.
Oh, okay. Well, I too got to fly in helicopters a little while ago. It was when I was stationed in Vietnam, so that's just a couple years ago. Wow. So, I attended, that was just a side note. I attended the Hope School homecoming for a little bit. The kids are always wonderful there. A lot of excitement in the air, and they're so appreciative of what we do. I attended, again, the La Palma State of the City, and also the chief swearing in. We have a new police chief, been with the district with the city for 28 years, starting as the guy that goes out and does the citations on parked cars for, when your sweeper comes by. That's where he started and worked his way up to chief. So, yeah, he's done very well for himself. I attended Walker and Kennedy Coffee with the Principal. It was interesting to attend that for a while. I attended a Kennedy football game and the Western Field ribbon cutting, which was exciting to see a new field come on stream. I'm sure they're very happy with that. I haven't heard any complaints about it, so I'm sure it's working very well. I attended the MAC pumpkin patch, which had been advertised. So I got there really early, so people were just coming in. They were still setting up, but I still got the sort of the flair of the evening. So that was nice to see and what the pumpkin patch is, or I should say just what the MAC is producing, not just pumpkins, but all the produce coming off the field. Western High School football game, attended homecoming football game, attended that. And of course the Teacher of the Year, and it was mentioned about the winners there. The three teachers that were recognized, and it's always a wonderful event, and it's so great to hear what the teachers do in the classroom, and it's mind-boggling trying for me, who's not a teacher in a classroom, to understand all that goes on in the classroom. So it's just a wonderful evening. Attended the Kennedy Community Engagement ribbon cutting, opening up that center and moving where they actually have a room now, a nice, decent sized room that they can better support the community. And we have a new person there. He is very excited, has a great personality, and he's just eager to help. Attended the meeting at, it was meeting at Cyber Security Center at Magnolia, and it was with the Hewlett Foundation, and I attended that for a while. And then they went from there after some, I guess you could say, presentations, very well done by Dr. Freed and our superintendent and some students. Then they went over to the MAC, and that's when I left because I had other things to do at that time. I attended a ROP board meeting last night, and we recognized Meg Catuli, who was the representative from Los Alamitos Unified, and she was leaving. She did not run for re-election. She stepped down, and after 22 years of being on the ROP board, I don't know how many years she had been on Los Al, but it was close to 30, I believe. So we will be having a new person from Los Al coming on at our next meeting. Band Spectacular last night was wonderful. I liked the setting being in our stadium versus in Glover. And the bands, what they produced last night in the way of music and the movements on the field was very, very well done. So I have to commend the VAPA department. And I know it wasn't Mr. Belsky that did it, but he was overseeing and working with everybody there. So please pass on my congratulations to all in place. And I wanted to congratulate Dr. Nian on the bond and everybody that supported the bond campaign. It was very well done. It was very well done, very well coordinated. Obviously the message got out, but it wasn't just the message getting out at that time. It had been over the years as the district built its reputation. And I think that was a real major driving force of why we received the percentage, that's almost 67%, of voters. So that was great. Thank you so much for everybody. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. O'Neill. Ms. Smith?
Thank you. Well, I'd like to give a little bit some thanks to Dr. Jen Billings. Years ago, when she was superintendent and I was new on the board, she came up with the idea of student board members, or ambassadors. And it was a wonderful idea, and it happened. And then Anna Piercy, who used to sit here, wanted it extended to all schools, so every school would have their own ambassador. And it just shows the power of one person, two people speaking, and what we've been able to achieve with this program. And it's so special for them to be able to carry their stories to younger people as they age and go through life. And I attended the insurance committee meeting, the discipline meeting, the ribbon cutting at Western, and a teacher of the year, a school dinner that was held at Disneyland Hotel. It was lovely, praising the good works of good people that work in schools. And then I think I covered it all. Oh, and Veterans Day. I said to my fellow board member here, when we stand and say the pledge to our flag, I wonder how many other countries in the world do that. And it's always interesting because ideas carry, and some things really good happen throughout the planet. And I wanted to share a story. In 1996, President Johnson was going to call up another, I think 10,000 troops to go to Vietnam to serve. And the military did not have enough doctors to take care of that many servicemen in Vietnam. So President Johnson started a program where doctors in private practice in the United States would be given a number. And that number that was drawn, number 1, was my husband. And my husband went to Vietnam for 13 months, and he served up in the DMZ, and he was stationed with 2,000 Marines. And his stories of being in Vietnam at that time were at war, and he came home, picked up his family practice with his partner, and went on with life. But then my question is, how many other countries would serve their veterans like this country does? And what we do is nothing more than just beautiful and gracious and wonderful. And I think it's part of the body work that makes this country great, because we do it together and we share our love and our kindness for other people. And I'd like to wish you all a lovely weekend, and I want to thank you for attending tonight and for your patience.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Ms. Guerrero?
Thank you. I had the opportunity to join my colleagues also at the Western High School practice field ribbon cutting. President Randall Trejo and I participated in the Anaheim Halloween Parade. It was their 100th parade, and I was actually very excited because Anaheim High School Band and Color Guard got to open this year's parade. So very proud as an Anaheim High School grad. And we also had multiple of our schools represented. I know Anaheim High School Cheer, Laura High School Cheer, Catella High School Band and Color Guard also joined us, as well as Anaheim High School's NJRTC. I also had the opportunity to attend a few of the Dia de los Muertos events at our schools. I attended Anaheim High Schools and Lorea High Schools. I also joined my colleagues for the Teacher of the Year, where we celebrated Mr. King, Mr. Reed, and Dr. Hind. And then I also joined my colleagues for the Kennedy High School Family and Community Engagement Center grand reopening, as well as joined Trustee O'Neill at the Hewitt Foundation visit at Magnolia High School. And I just want to commend all the students that spoke. I'm always impressed by our students and their ability to, just their public speaking skills and being able to share what they learned in the classroom is impeccable. I want to echo Anaheim High School's win at their first CIF game. Very excited for Game 2 tomorrow at Glover Stadium, so please come out and support if you can. And then I want to echo the comments about Measure K. Thank Nancy, thank ASTA leadership, thank all of our teachers, our parents, students, staff, the voters that voted. If you canvassed, if you phone banked, if you supported our schools, we really appreciate your support, and we look forward to what great things Measure K will bring. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Guerrero. All right. Also, congratulations again to our Orange County Teachers of the Year, Joey King, Lisbeth Hind, and Tim Reed. Tim Reed was not able to attend the ceremony. He chose instead to be with his students at the football game for Kennedy. So we wished him well, and we toasted in his honor. I attended the AXA OCSBA joint dinner meeting, ROP meeting last night. Band Spectacular was always spectacular. The Halloween parade, as my colleague spoke about. I also was asked to speak at BSU Summit at Dale Junior High School. It was a great honor to speak. And I also participated in a lot of meetings behind the scenes, and one of them was for CSBA. There was a UC Davis study and focus group on their online learning, and so they picked a smattering of our association delegates, and we spoke about the program. Most everybody, of course, says that in person is a great way to learn, but I actually got my master's in governance online during COVID, so it was a good opportunity for me to do that. Also, just for transparency, we talked about at our last meeting about, financial obligations, and one of those obligations is that if you're a president of the board, then you meet with your auditors, and there was a pre-auditor meeting held last week, and the board actually is the person we're really in charge of the auditor, and we hire the auditor. So they ask very poignant questions, and I'm able to ask poignant questions on behalf of the board. And they ask questions about our staff, and it's, really to keep everyone honest and open transparency. So just wanted to put that out there. Again, I'm elated with the results of our Measure K, and again, I echo my colleagues' sentiments that I feel that the public really is behind our school district because of all of you, and our teachers and administrators and our kids. So I think that it's just a testament of the hard work that everyone does in our district. All right, and moving on to closing, but before that, were there any agenda items that anyone would like to bring forward?
I did. Actually, a question / future agenda item. I know there's some, with the new presidential election results, I know there's some fear among our immigrant communities. And as a daughter of immigrants and granddaughter of immigrants, I want to commend this board for the resolution they passed back in 2017 named Providing All Children Equal Access to Education, ensuring that none of our undocumented student information was shared or that any ICE enforcement activities happen at our school sites. And I just want to make sure that that resolution still stands, or is that something that we have to reintroduce? I don't know if that's a question for our district council, or we could bring that back next month, or is that still standing?
We can definitely review that. I would need to check the language to see if it had any timelines associated with it, but we can absolutely look into that.
Okay, thank you.
And I would second that.
Thank you.
I would like to ask if we could develop a policy for the board. This was on my ballot statement when I posted it for to be reelected. And cell phones in the classroom, I think, should be a board policy that they cannot be. And that parents need to, if they need to contact their children, they can call the principal and he could take care of the message. But it is very disturbing and distressing to parents, to teachers, to be able to teach with
So,
this kind of
Ms. Smith, yes,
behavior.
you can ask for that, but you're kind of testifying on that, so I think that, I think your concerns are valid, and does somebody want to second
Yeah, I'll second
that
it. We bring it
conversation?
back.
Okay,
Yep.
alrighty.
Board President Randall Trejo, can I speak to that real quick?
Yes.
So just so the board is aware, our Student Discipline Task Force is already working on drafting board policy for the cell phones. So to Trustee Smith's point, it probably will be in the spring when that policy comes forward. Right now, the Discipline Task Force has worked with our partners to develop a draft. Now that draft is being taken, we shared it yesterday with the teacher input group. We're going to be bringing it to different parent groups to look at, like the Superintendent Advisory Committee, perhaps the DLAC Committee, and then we're also going to be bringing that forward to the principals and APs to look at before we solidify a final draft to bring to the board for the first read. So sometime in the spring, that will be agendized as the first read for you, and we'll keep you updated on the progress. But the Student Discipline Task Force is working on that policy as we speak.
I really want to thank you for sharing that. It gives me good feelings.
Thank you.
Okay, and if there are no further agenda items, I'd like to end this meeting in honor of John Dalem,
Oh, yes.
former principal of Loera and Western. He was a decorated Vietnam War veteran. He earned a Bronze Star. He also, in his spare time, climbed Mount Everest and 7 other great mountains of the world. He was also an award-winning wrestling coach. So,
I'll second that.
motion second. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.